Role Models, episode 4. Can you believe I've done 4 episodes of this? It's remarkable, and I'm a little bit in shock. Hey, welcome back, or if this is the first time that you're listening to it, or you've accidentally stumbled across it while trying to play Candy Crush, my name is Jarrod Walsh, and the reason I'm doing this Role Models podcast is to talk about positive things. You jump on social media in 2017 and everything's negative. Everybody's analysing everybody else's every move, and it's a little bit frustrating because I believe there's so many positive things going on in the community and the world, and we need to celebrate them. That's why each of my special guests in every episode talk about what they are doing away from the spotlight. Yep, you may know these people from the amazing work they do in their chosen field, elite athletes, businessmen and women, and media performers. What you may not know is the awesome stuff they are doing behind the scenes. So let's talk about that. Like my last special guest on episode 3, she's an Olympian, she is a Commonwealth gold medalist, a world champion basketballer. Her name's Jenny Screen, and she played in a very special era of women's basketball.
I do consider myself very lucky. Gratitude is something that I always try and think about every day, and I was very fortunate to play with some of the best players to ever have played the game.
Not bad for the resume, hey, but the great thing about Jenny Screen is what she's doing now post her amazing basketball career. She's a sports scientist, and she's focusing on athletes and how they make that transition back into the normal world, so to speak. So things like anxiety, depression, financial situations, she's trying to help athletes really make that change back into the world that most of us live in.
This shit is real, and your players that you demand so much of on a level of skill, you need to give them the time on a level of mental capacity and emotional level.
She's a pretty amazing woman, Jenny Screen, and we could have spoken for so much more time. Look, it was only 20 minutes to chat, so I highly recommend you go back to episode 3 and have a listen. 20 minutes of your time, that's all it's going to take. But things like depression and anxiety and all of these issues that these athletes go through, these are things we go through as well. And as they transition back into the real world, we need to talk about this stuff more. And as she says in the podcast, it's okay not to be okay. While you're doing that as well, can you give us a like on the iTunes thing, the podcast app you may have, or Stitcher? Just give us a rating and say this is really good. Even if you don't like it, just say you like it, please, because I'll be able to sleep at night. Share it on social media as well. While you are doing that, should we get into it? Episode 4 of Role Models. To say that I'm pumped about this one is an understatement because I've got a massive name on. I'm just going to shut up and get into it. Let's do it. Episode 4 of Role Models now. I thought to give you an idea of how you may know my special guest in episode 4 of Role Models. It's quite fitting as well, and I'll explain that in a second. I'll roll off some statistics. So here we go. You ready? This man has played 231 games for the one AFL club. He's kicked 491 goals. He's represented Australia in 2015 in the International Rules Series, 2-time All-Australian. He's won the Coleman medal. He's been Hawthorn's leading goal kicker in 2013 and 2014. And he's also the captain of the Hawthorn Football Club in 2017. Now, I've left the best till last. It's quite fitting that I'm doing episode 4 because this man has also won 4 premierships for the Hawthorn Football Club. Yes, I speak of Jarryd Roughead. He is my special guest, and that's how you may know him. And it's usually at this point of the podcast where I'll say, and what you may not know about my guest. I don't know why I did that voice. I'm really sorry. I will never do that again. But let's be honest, Jarryd Roughead plays the number 1 sport in Australia for pretty much the biggest club, so it's difficult for him to live a private life. For those of you who don't know, though, his past 18 months has been a battle bigger than any he will face on the sporting field. In 2015, he had to take 3 weeks off because it was revealed he had a melanoma on his lip. And in 2016, that made a return, but alongside that on his lip, he also discovered 4 small spots on his lung, and a biopsy confirmed a diagnosis of melanoma. He's fine now, though, thankfully. In late 2016, in December, he revealed on the Hawks website that he was cancer-free, and he's about to take the field for the Hawks, leading them into the 2017 AFL season, which is amazing. We talk everything in this podcast. We talk about AFL, him being the captain, his love of NBA. It's a mutual love that we both have. But most importantly, how did he handle this cancer? How was his outlook on life beforehand? How's that changed now? He's such a positive, outgoing and humble human being. Was there ever a moment where he sat down by himself and thought, shit, this is real and I may not get out of this? Look, I've said enough. Sit down, take 20 minutes out and have a listen to episode 4 of Role Models. It's a beauty. My guest, Jarryd Roughead. It's a real pleasure to be talking to someone who aspires to be an NBA superstar like myself, and it's so great to say the official captain of the Hawthorn Football Club for 2017, Jarryd Roughead. Mate, this is, you know what, I just keep building with these guests on this podcast. Thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule to talk to me.
No, mate, that's fine. Once I heard that this was getting underway, I thought that I better get involved because I don't want to miss the boat with how many special guests you get on your show.
No, it's a few. And I mean, out of all the special guests, you are definitely one of them, which is fantastic. It's really good to have a chat to you. We'll get to some really important stuff, but I wanted to talk footy very quickly because this is almost an exclusive. You are the new captain of the Hawks, which is amazing that I get to talk to you about this. I wanted to ask because there's a big transition at the Hawthorn Football Club. You guys losing a lot of players, being the captain to start the year. Does much change for you apart from attending lots of boring meetings?
Well, personally, not at the moment. And I think that's the beauty of our club and the job that I've got is that I haven't had to change much, and only that the fact that the club has changed in terms of personnel. But other than that, it's as normal as what it has been over the previous 13 years that I've been there. 13
years, that is such a long time. And I look back at myself 13 years. I've been working in my radio station for 13 years. I used to have hair. I used to be semi-attractive, and now I'm just washed up and talking in between songs. What now motivates you on the football field? Because you've achieved so much as a player and, you know, all of the premierships, the international representation, and now being the captain of the club. Where do you draw your motivation from now?
Oh, I think, you know, once you as a hockey player that's won premierships as well, mate, I think you know that. I think you know that once you win and you experience that feeling of, you know, when the siren goes and the initial 15, 20 minutes afterwards and the celebrations and the sense of you've achieved your goals, I think you don't want to let that go. And, you know, we've been lucky enough to win a few premierships, and even though people say, oh, you know, you've won, you know, 4 premierships, are you happy with your career? It's like, no, I want to try and keep winning as many as I can because, you know, this is what we play footy for. This is the job, and, you know, there's no point doing it unless you're going to go half-assed, I guess.
Are there two mindsets? I've spoken to a former AFL player who won one premiership, and I said, you know what, once you've ticked that off, you can probably go, hey, it's easy to retire now. You know what, if we don't make finals next year, what will be because I have that premiership, which so many people aspire to have. And you've got 4 of them, so that drive just is still there because a lot of people have written the Hawks off already, which I'm sure motivates you and the rest of the team.
Well, they've been saying it for 4 or 5 years that we're gone, so... you know, you take that with a grain of salt because media are eventually going to get something right. But I guess, you know, with the new group too, you want to help blokes that haven't been able to experience that winning premiership feeling to get involved because, as I said before, it's you know, this is what we play footy for. You're not here to just look good for 4 or 5 years and then go on to the next part of your life. You want to, you know, make hay while the sun shines. And while we've got the group that we do and the experience that we have, I don't see why we can't keep contending for years to come.
I'm going to move off football in a second, but what I wanted to ask you, you've been in the AFL for so long, and I'm sure you arriving at the club at such a young age, it's probably different now having a look at the younger players who are arriving now. I was listening to a podcast, which is an NBA podcast, and I talk about this one all the time. This is a podcast which Richard Jefferson does with Channing Frye. And they had a special guest, and it was Kyle Korver, and he was talking about rookies now are so different to the way they were a decade ago. I mean, he told this story that what the players when he was first at Philadelphia would do, they'd go to the middle of the court at the end of a session and they would kick the basketballs as far back in the stadium as possible, and the rookies had to go get them just for the sake of doing it. I mean, Kent Bazemore, who's at Atlanta now, had his whole car filled up with popcorn. I mean, but now it seems like the younger players are... It's almost offensive to say they've got a sense of entitlement, but they're a lot more sensitive, it seems.
Yes and no. I think, you know, footy's come a long way and you understand that, it's not just the senior 22 that win games and win premierships. You want the strength of our group recently has been the depth, and if you can integrate these kids as quick as you can to make them feel welcome, make them feel a part of the group, and get an understanding of how your system works and the AFL life. And if they can help you to win, well, I don't see why you don't play them straight away or you don't get them involved, because if it's going to help your side become better and a chance to win, then there's no point letting them do an apprenticeship in a sense. And like what it was back in the day, and you have to earn your games and earn the respect of your teammates. It's on the older players as well to try and make them feel as welcome as you can straight away.
Now, mate, you love the NBA. It's a passion that we both share. You're good friends with Paddy Mills and also, I'm going to say Gordon Hayward because of your Joe Ingles connection as well. What I love is American sport. I know you're a huge fan. Your brother's a huge fan. Your brother, over the past few months, has just been dagging around American sports. Mate. Just ridiculous how he got into the Super Bowl. I don't understand. But do you kind of see a potential of the AFL to go in that direction of, I'm talking about access of players to the media, because they just do it so well, but I always think that Australian support, we've got a long way to go before that happens.
Yeah, I agree. I think, obviously, when you've got 315 million people compared to 24 million in Australia, that makes it, a hard task already. And, the game's obviously privatised over there, and there's a lot more money over there, and boys don't have to really worry about what they say because it's easy for them to just move on straight away. Whereas here, if you, I suppose, stuff up one or two times, then your chances of getting to a second club or even another chance in the footy world is low. So, with here you've got a lot of sponsors to deal with. You only have to look with what's happened the past couple of weeks with clubs losing sponsorships and stuff like that. You've got to be very, very careful because without them, then there is really no footy club.
Do you reckon that we are mature enough as a media organisation or organisations around Australia to be able to walk into a change room like you can do in an NBA locker room and just put a microphone in someone's face and trust that they will speak? Because a lot of players have a lot of interesting things to say, but they're probably a little bit too protected. Yeah,
I think so. But again, it's because of sponsors and obviously you don't want to be caught saying the wrong thing, because we're not. I think over in America, you're educated at a very, very young time, from when you come from college to even high school. These guys are getting, touted as going to be high picks or first round picks. So they're educated pretty quick in terms of what to say to the media and how to go about it. It's just when you've got a pocket full of 100 million compared to a pocket full of money in Australia, you can kind of say what you want.
Okay, final question before we get into the second part of this podcast. Just imagine that you were young, your hair was as thick as it was 13 years ago, and you are just about to be drafted, and your father steps into the media spotlight and starts pumping you up like there's no tomorrow. And you're
talking about LeVar Ball?
I certainly am, because this is just a fascinating story where this man is pissing so many people off, and it's coming across like he's ruining his son's career before he's even actually been drafted. What's your take on this? Well,
I don't personally. I'd never even heard of LeVar Ball before, or his son's played for UCLA. So, it's interesting because I guess he's just jumping on the coattails of his young fella to make sure that, they look after the family. And I think that's the American way. You've seen it happen before with parents of sports players and sports people. I think it's very hard for kids to turn around and try and tell their old man to shut up. But the other thing is too, when, as you're saying, when camera crews and media personalities walk up and chuck a camera in his face or a microphone, then he's got no one telling him what to say or how to go about it. And they just run with it.
If he gets drafted, already he's got a target on his head, though, because what's going to happen is he's going to get a Joakim Noah screen, which is going to hurt, or he's going to run into the biggest bloke in the NBA, and it's almost like a movie where they'll look at him and go, "Welcome to the NBA. Say good day to your dad for me."
Well, I think, and that that's what we were saying before, is that he'll probably have to earn the respect of teammates and whatnot. But then you want to make sure that Lonzo is the oldest of the three boys, so you've got to make sure that he sets a good example for the younger two coming through as well. When I think the younger one hit 95 or nearly 100 points in high school the other day.
Yeah.
these guys are going to be on the front of ESPN magazines, and the hype over the next couple of years going into future draft.
It's going to be very different and interesting to watch. Now, Ruffy, the second part of the podcast, like I've done on the previous three, it's to talk about life away from the spotlight, which is really difficult for you because you have been in the spotlight for such a long time, but for different reasons over the past 18 months. One of the best things that I saw on video was you falling over a few weeks ago, and that was the former captain, Premiership captain. Well, I wanted to explain why, because for the people who are listening who don't know much about your story, you have survived a really serious cancer scare, which we'll get to really soon. But
yep.
the recovery and the way that you've handled it, that's what I want to talk about. And what happened was you were at pre-season training and your former captain, Luke Hodge, put up a video on social media of you trying to kick the ball, and I think you kicked to the ground or your leg and you fell over. And for me, I watched it smiling going, Ruffy's back, and you're someone who's such a humble human being, but everybody having a laugh with you and going, hey, welcome back, mate. I just felt that was a really special and important thing to happen so everybody can go, hey, Ruffy's back.
Oh, yeah, I purposely mean to stuff up like that all the time. So that's I just while I'm training and trying to get back, I thought, why not just, replace my divot and just stick my size 13 boot straight in the deck and trip over and look like an idiot. But I think, that's what footy clubs are all about. And I think that was the beauty of everything that went on last year, is that, I was able to go to the footy club and not have to worry. These boys, I've been there for so long, and they understand. Initially, they understood that I just wanted to be treated normal, and obviously a certain few are going to be a bit closer than others. But when you go there and you feel normal, you don't really worry what was going on the outside. And when they're playing week to week and you're helping blokes out and trying to make sure that the end goal is winning and helping them to win, then that means a lot more than what was going on the outside as well, because I could go there and be treated normal and not have to worry about what was going on.
Is that something that you intentionally did as well because of your understanding? And I want to talk to you about the work that you guys continually do in the community, but you would have seen a lot of cancer patients and people who are recovering from it, but you are someone who understands that, yes, you have a public life, but there are so many other people fighting private battles as well that need the same attention you do.
Yeah, and that was one of the hard things I had to come to grips with, is unfortunately you're a poster boy for this, and you don't want to be that, and you don't wish that upon anyone. And there's times there where you go to the hospital and people are walking up and giving hugs and wishing you all the best and stuff like that, and that's all good and well, and that helps you get through certain days. But there was part times where you have to be a little bit selfish, I think, because obviously this isn't this isn't a role model situation where you've got to be seen doing the right thing the whole time. You've kind of got to worry about yourself, which is hard for me because you've been involved in a team sport for so long. But also, you understand that this is something that's not win or lose. If you lose this one, you're in a fair bit of trouble. But the upside, to winning this one was much more the focus at the time.
Did you get to a stage where, you're such a positive person, but you did get a little bit overwhelmed? I mean, you've got a lovely wife, you've got a beautiful dog, which you and I share a passion for gorgeous golden retriever dogs, but where you actually have that private moment to go, holy shit, this is real, it's happening to me, and I may not make that return that I wanted to?
Yeah, I mean, initially, yeah, because, I was 2 or 3 weeks away from playing at the time when I got the second diagnosis, and from feeling fine to then walking in and hearing that you've got spots on your lungs and everything goes into, well, what if mode, I guess. As you said, I'd got married 4 months prior. Everything was going well, and then this hits you, and it's just like, well, everything gets put on hold, and you've got to turn into a bit of a nomad in a sense and worry about how to try and get better. And there's times there it was tough. Don't get me wrong. Like, I went through side effects, and you have your down days. I think I got down to about 92, 93 kilos. So, certain things like that you just, looking back on it, was shit house. But at the same time, I'm here now, which is the good thing.
92 kilos. What's your standard playing weight, or if you blow out over the off season, what do you normally get to?
I'm about 99, 100. Yeah, so
far out.
Yeah, so at that time I was still trying to do rehab training for my knee, and I couldn't train with the boys, but I could still do little things at the footy club. But even still, you without even knowing, you drop that weight. And I'm not one that drops weight easy. Like in the off season, I'm one to go the other way. So to then see yourself and look back at photos now, I guess you understand that at times it was pretty bad.
I was talking to Adam Peacock from Fox Sports in episode 2, talking about certain things that make us realise that we're human, and it's really shit that it takes a lot of negative things to make us step back and go, hey, let's focus on the important things in life, like going out, having a nice coffee, having a walk around and just enjoying life, how lucky we are. So I'm assuming that your reflection and outlook on life from that moment, even if it was really positive before, it's given you an opportunity to go, hey, we don't need to sweat the small stuff.
Oh, 100%. I guess, there's, as you're saying, there's stages there through what I went with is that, I had no release. So the normal of going out, the normal life of going out, being able to, have dinners, have beers with your mates, train with the boys, everything like that was taken away. So then all of a sudden all your releases within life are not there. And then, you come back now and small things that used to worry you or, aren't there anymore. And life's, I used to think, obviously moving up as 17 years old to Melbourne, that footy was everything. And then as I went through this last year, I realised, well, it's only going to be, 15, 16 years of my life. I want to be here until, hopefully you're a parent or a granddad or something like that in the future, which means much more than just 15 years of footy now. That means a lot more than, everything.
Ruffy, how important is it for people to go and get checked? We're heading into winter here in Australia, and a lot of people probably assume going into winter sport, whether it's football or myself going for a three-peat, hopefully scoring another cracking goal in a hockey grand final. How important is it for people to go and get checked without going, even though it is winter, the sun can still affect us in so many ways when we least expect it?
Yeah, well, that's the thing with me is that I found out both times, one about my lip, and two, the second diagnosis were in, May, June, July. So it's not the months that you'd actually think, or people would actually think that, that's when you could get melanoma spots or little things that pop up. But that's the thing, when you got tracky dacks, Ugg boots, beanies on, and you don't see, your skin for a fair amount of time in the winter, you just want to make sure that you haven't got anything that's come up, whether it be in between your toes or little spots that might have got bigger over the summer and then you don't see them until the middle months of winter. It's pretty important that you get checked, obviously once or twice a year, but making sure that you have a look in around winter time, because you don't want to get to summer and then you realise that something could have been there for 3 or 4 months as well.
Just finally, mate, I'd like to ask all of my guests on the Role Models podcast how you see yourself being a role model, or the term role model. I mean, a lot of my guests, we've spoken about the term being inherited when you do have such a public life, but how do you see that role?
Oh, I think you're right. When you're drafted from, I came from a little country town in South Gippsland called Leongatha where it's only 6,000 people, and when you're drafted at 17, you're automatically put in the spotlight. My hometown has one set of traffic lights, and then I moved to Hawthorn, which has 5 or 6 traffic lights just on the way to training. So, adapting to that lifestyle and understanding, I guess, what adult life is about. You've got to become pretty independent and learn how to do things by yourself. But I think once you realise that this is what you want to do, you want to make sure that you do it well. And if you can, looking at little kids that have your number on your back, you want to make sure that you're having a good impression on them, but also their families and other people that you just, there might be the first time that they ever get to meet an AFL footy player, or the first time that they ever get, and last time they ever get to meet you. So that time that you have impacting on them, I guess you've got to make it a good one, because you don't want to put a bad... you don't want to tarnish your own name, but also the footy club, because at the end of the day, I've been here for 13 years, but Hawthorn will still be here for 50, 60, 100 years in time. So you've got to make sure that while we're here, we're looking after the club as well as yourself.
2 final questions. First one, who wins the NBA championship and who wins the MVP of the season in the NBA?
Oh, see, MVP is a good one. I'm thinking I'm going to go with Harden only because their record is just amazing at the moment. And he's been playing, move positions to the point guard, lead the league in assists. If you're a betting man, I think you could have got $13-14 at the start of the year. And then, but then you've got the Kawhi Leonard who, Spurs are the number 1 seed now. But the West is going to be hard, but you can't go past Cleveland at the moment. I think that, they'll get rolling these next 15, 16 games going into playoffs, and then, the man known as LeBron will just do what he does and make a 7th final series. So I'm going with Cleveland, which I know you'd be happy with because you'll get...
James Jones makes his 7th final series as well. Even though he's done nothing.
Going for his 4th title as well.
Okay, final question, and I think this is the most important one. Of course, every question's been important. Your answer's been spectacular. Let's go back 13 years, and you have the option of fulfilling your dream of playing a career with Hawthorn, winning 4 premierships. Now you're the captain in 2017, or you could have been drafted into the NBA, 0 championships, but you get to play for 13 years.
Because since learning about the NBA and learning about AFL, I've got reunions, my first reunions next year, and I have that for the next 10 years for the rest of my life. I look at and see these boys and Aussies that have won championships. They don't ever get the chance to have a reunion or anything like that. They win the championship and then it's just like they look good because they've won a championship, and that's the American culture and lifestyle. Whereas, as I said before, mate, I've got a reunion for the next 5 years for the rest of my life. How good's that?
I just can't wait, because you said that you blow out over summer. So when you retire, I can't wait for your reunions just to see how much you actually blow out.
Yeah, and hopefully you've already been given the sack by Nova then too.
Ruffy, thank you so much for your time, mate. I really appreciate it. Really open and honest chat, and I know you are such a humble and easygoing bloke, but for you to give me 20 minutes to have a chat to really help out this podcast, I can't be more thankful. So good luck for the season. Hopefully the Hawks do really well, and trust me, there's going to be a lot of people watching you going out to play for the Hawks and to lead the way that will be so excited, because, the JLT series, playing a couple of games for that, amazing, but the real stuff starts really soon, and the fact that you are back playing football, it makes so many people really happy. So all the best to you and your wife, mate, and your dog. Pop out a kid soon, and good luck.
Thanks, mate. I'll see you in the middle of Adelaide Oval at the Port game.
Okay, real talk time. I'm fantastic at self-reflection, and I am a 33-year-old, tall, 6'3", bald bloke, just struggling through life. And the man I just spoke to, Jarryd Roughead, a 4-time Premiership player, captain of the Hawthorn Football Club, dual Coleman medalist and All-Australian, all this other stuff. He's just won the biggest battle of his life. Not his career, his life. He has defeated cancer, and his attitude beforehand was amazing. His attitude afterwards, even better. He doesn't want to be treated like his illness was more important than anybody else's. He just wanted to be treated like a normal human being. And as you can hear, he's a humble bloke, he's funny, he's positive and generous with his time. He's about to captain the Hawks in his AFL return. He hasn't played footy for over 12 months, and he gave this podcast some time. Look, if you want to thank him as well, you can get involved on Twitter. He's on Twitter at Jarryd Roughead 2. I'm on Twitter at Jarrod Walsh. All the other details I'll put for social media below. If you enjoyed this podcast, please give it a like or a thumbs up on Stitcher or iTunes or the podcast app. And most importantly, as Jarryd Roughead said, if you are preparing to play winter sport this year, go and get your moles checked. Go and get your skin checked. It takes a couple of minutes. It's free at a lot of places as well. But you know what? Your life is very important, and he didn't expect to get cancer. I'm sure you don't either. Go and do it. It is now more important than ever to go and get yourself checked. There you go. Episode 4, Role Models, done. I'll catch you at episode 5. Thanks for listening.